Hi guys, I'm Jay. Welcome back to my channel, where we discuss the popular culture of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I was thinking back to myself a few days ago, and I remembered a wonderful little cartoon about a young man who would catch comets and travel to different worlds, learning about other people's cultures. I'm of course talking about The Adventures of the Little Prince.
Little prince in outer space can catch a shooting star and sail away. Perhaps one day he'll come your way.
The Adventures of the Little Prince was a wonderful cartoon which was broadcast here in Canada on TV Ontario. It really involved a young man who lived on a small planet, and it was called B612. He lived there alone. He had two little volcanoes. One of them was inactive. Or was it three? You know, it's so long ago, I can only remember certain parts of the show. Now one day, a seedling comes and he's able to plant it, and it grows into a beautiful young rose. The prince decides that he has to take care of her. This was a little bit perplexing to me as a child. I didn't understand why the prince was so enamored by this little rose. The only thing else I remembered about the rose was that she was incredibly selfish. Anything that the prince would do for her, she seemed to shun and just have a general disdain for his efforts. It was really perplexing to me, as I always thought, as a young child, people should treat each other fairly. So one day, the prince meets a space bird named Swifty. And Swifty starts to tell the prince all about his adventures throughout space, and that he can visit multiple different planets and find out the different cultures and different people who live there. The prince starts to think that this is a wonderful idea and that he should go out and see the rest of the planets that are out there. Swifty and his friends, using a tethered lines on these birds, they would fly him up into the stratosphere, where shooting comets would dart across the sky, and he would use his little tiny net to catch one of these shooting comets and then fly all the way down to another planet to visit those inhabitants. One of my favorite episodes from The Adventures of the Little Prince was when he went to Earth and was stranded in the middle of the Sahara Desert. He encounters an interesting person, an aviator to be precise. He's literally stuck in the desert with a broken down plane. The prince believes this plane to be a gigantic bird and hopes that the aviator can help nurse it back to health. There are segments of the episode where the aviator starts to believe that the little prince is nothing more than a mirage, set out by his mind to actually torment him. But as the episode goes on, the little prince asks more and more questions, including if the aviator could draw him a sheep, which could help him to eat the thorn bushes which are on his planet. The aviator continues to explain that he's not much of an artist. As a matter of fact, when he was in school, he drew a snake which had eaten an elephant, and everyone thought that it was a straw hat. The little prince laughs and still insists for the aviator to draw him a sheep so he can take care of the thorn bushes which are growing on his planet. I always found this to be a wonderfully innocent idea, that if you were just to draw a sheep, that it would start eating the thorn bushes and take care of all those things. Eventually, the two of them have to go searching for water. As they wander the desert, the two find what they believe to be a city. It's no mirage, it just ends up being an abandoned city. The aviator truly begins to lose hope, thinking that they will never be able to find any water. But the little prince encourages the aviator to push on and to believe, because if there really is nothing left to believe in, then they truly will be finished. Luckily, after all hope is lost, the two of them finally find an oasis in the desert. It's then that the two start sharing a wonderful moment in the episode, where the aviator starts looking back up to the sky and remembers what it was to be able to imagine.
Well, so you have made me believe, little prince. It must be a most marvelous world you come from, oui?
It's called B612.
How you came here, je ne sais pas. But I much enjoy your company.
Merci.
Eventually, the aviator falls asleep, and the little prince senses that it's time for him to go. Before the little prince leaves, he writes something down in the aviator's notebook. When the aviator wakes up, he looks around to find the prince missing. Believing that it probably was actually a mirage, he discovers the note and realizes that everything was true. I have a lot of fond memories about the adventures of the Little Prince, but it's not without its flaws. The original series was created in Japan and was called Hoshi no Oujisama Petit Prince, which literally translates to Prince of the Stars, the Petite Prince. Unfortunately, the localization team here in North America seems to not have really understood how to edit film very well. A lot of the times, the visuals do not match up with the voice actor's performance. Sometimes you'll see characters who appear to be arguing with one another, whereas their dialogue makes it appear as if they're just having a regular conversation. Oftentimes, you'll see that characters seem to be talking about a certain situation, and yet the visuals are slightly askew compared to what they're talking about.
You'll never come back. I know it.
I promise I'll be back.
No, you'll forget all about our little world, and I'll just spend the rest of my life under this glass jar.
Okay.
It's a little bit confusing, but the actual production company here in North America did an okay job as far as I'm concerned. As a child, I was still able to understand exactly what they were trying to explain. And it really did touch me. So much so that I'm still talking about it today. The Adventures of the Little Prince is based off of a novel, which was written by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who was a famous French explorer and aviator. I'd like to think that my favorite episode was based off of one of his adventures, in which he got lost in the desert and dreamed up of the Little Prince. If you'd like to see episodes of The Adventures of the Little Prince, you might want to take a look on Amazon or eBay for some DVDs that someone might be selling on there. Well guys, that'll about do it for my look back at The Adventures of the Little Prince. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do, please leave me a like. It really helps me out. If you like this episode, please also try to share it, as I think some other people would love to learn about these wonderful cartoons, which we happen to be talking about. If you have any suggestions, or anything else you'd like me to review, please leave that in the comment section below. As always guys, thank you very much for watching. Check out some of the other episodes I've done. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.